Welcome back to the Bettors Zone. One final time this week. Happy Friday, everyone. We are back breaking down all the games as we always do. We have 23 total games to break down. As always, we will go quicker on the NBA games. Not much value left on the slate in these last couple of weeks of the season, but we have tons of great MLB games to break down. If you want to tear my plays, you know where to go. Patreon.com/the-Bettors-Zone. You can join the Discord channel and or support the podcast. All right, let's start breaking down the games. NBA. Atlanta at Philadelphia. Philly is a 9.5 point home favorite. This is a rematch. Same game was played 2 days ago. The closing line was minus 9.5, minus 111, so basically a 10 on Philly. We get the same line back. Only difference here is that Capella is questionable here, and he was playing in that game. He's a huge piece for Atlanta. Obviously, if he sits, then they are in pretty deep trouble. The first game was really interesting as the Hawks have been out-rebounding the Sixers, and they had the better free throw rate, but they were simply not hitting their shots. They shot 37% effective from the field. That's the worst by any team in any game so far this season. So yeah, it was. I think this game should be way closer. Of course, if Capella plays, I agree with the line 100%. You won't find value here. Philly needs to win every game now. They 1.5 games back from Brooklyn. I still project them to win the East, but they have some work to do. Washington and Cleveland 6.5 spread. Cleveland lost 4 games in a row. They have one of the worst records in the league right now. The Wizards are making nice improvements, 9-1 in the last 10. They are making a push for the playoffs, playing nice basketball, and it's mostly fueled by their defense. They are third in defensive points per possession, so they give up the third lowest points per possession in the entire league in the last 4 weeks now. And the offense is also better than was before. They have a plus 6-ish point differential. Something like that. Overall, I think this is a great matchup for them. Also, a rematch. This was played a few days ago, but this game is now in Cleveland, and that one was in Washington, if I'm correct. You cannot really back Cleveland. That's the point here. The Wizards are fighting for the playoffs. Cleveland is really playing for nothing. They want to lose. Sexton is questionable here. Tons of backups, and Larry Nance are also out. I think this will be a one-sided game. I agree with the line. I couldn't lay more than this with the Wizards on the road, but you cannot look at Cleveland here. San Antonio at Boston, 4.5 point spread. Boston is laying 4.5 points at home. My line here is 4. Boston will be without Kemba. I think both of these teams are in a very similar spot. Bottom of the playoff spots, the Spurs are sitting in the 9th seed in the West, and the Celtics are the 6th seed in the East. The Celtics need this W a bit more as they are tied with the Heat for the final guaranteed playoff spot. Why the Spurs are kind of locked into the play-in tournament spot. They would need to lose like 4 more games than New Orleans the rest of the way to fall out of the play-in spot, which is not very likely. Overall, you have to give the edge to the Celtics, as the line tells you. They have the better rebounding, but overall, I still cannot trust this team. And this is typically a game that will be like a one-possession game. Spurs still have the better free throw rate, the better turnover rate, but the Celtics have the big rebounding advantage. They are third in offensive rebounding. The Spurs are just league average in defensive rebounding. I think the line is right. Again, sadly, no value. Orlando at Memphis, 10.5 point spread. The Grizzlies are 10.5 point home favorite. I agree with the line again. I make this 9 with fully healthy teams. Memphis is without JJJ here, and Grayson Allen is doubtful. The Magic are without Michael Carter Williams, Isaac Porter, Ross Okeke. Memphis's defense hasn't been that good lately, and that's why I'm not really a fan of them laying 10 plus points. They are 26 in the last 2 weeks in points per possession, and this was kind of consistent in the last month and a half that they are in the bottom 5 to bottom 10 in defensive ratings. And this is a team that through the season still ranks as the 10th best defense. So yeah, they've made some changes to the way how they play. Everything is a bit faster, but the defense struggles as a result of it. They are allowing now 118 points per 100 possessions. So yeah, that's not a great defense. But the Magic, second worst on both sides of the ball in the last 2 weeks. They are 1-6, minus 16 point differential. You don't really want to touch them here. Portland Trail Blazers at the Brooklyn Nets, 1 point spread. Brooklyn 1 point home favorite. I think this is a really, really difficult spot for the Nets. We don't know what they will do here. This is their third game in 4 nights and a back-to-back. Kyrie was out last night. Steve Nash said he's hopeful that Kyrie is playing, but KD played 36 minutes last night. I think he could be a rest candidate tonight. Harden is still out. So yeah, it's just difficult. I could see this spread really moving like 10 points basically, or almost 10 points if KD and Kyrie are both in or both out. If both squads were fully healthy, we just Harden out. I would make this Brooklyn -3 even on the third and fourth and the back-to-back. But I mean, if everyone is out, Portland will be like a, I don't know, 5-6 point home road favorite. If no KD, no Kyrie, no Harden, it would be really difficult for the Nets to hang with them offensively. Both of these teams are top 3 in points per possession offensively and slightly below league average on the defensive end. Both have some small edges, like Portland has way better rebounding overall. They are 8th in offensive rebounding, and the Nets are 22nd in defensive rebounding. Free throw rate is where Brooklyn excels. They are 6th in offensive free throw rate. Portland is 21st defensively. Both teams are top 10 in 3-point shooting, of course. Overall, I would trust Brooklyn way better. But I mean, for me to bet the Nets here, I would need both Kyrie and KD in, and I'm not sure that's happening. But they shouldn't take this easy. All games are a must-win. They have 1.5 game advantage over Philly, but Philly has a way easier remaining schedule, and they are likely not losing this game tonight against Atlanta. So Brooklyn really needs to step up. It's difficult that you have to balance the winning games and getting to the first seed versus playoff health. But that's the case. And the first seed will have such an easy way to the Eastern Conference Finals that both teams want to get that. But obviously, the price is that you have to risk your players' health down the line. Milwaukee at Chicago, 4.5 point spread. Milwaukee road favorite. This is the only game where I have an edge, a big edge. I'm leaning towards the Bulls here. Milwaukee playing third game in 4 nights and the back-to-back. And Giannis sprained his ankle last night in the first minute, so he's, I would say, 90% plus he won't play this. Lovin's still out for the Bulls. Vucevic is probable. That's bad. I hate probable tags. Those turn into questionables and outs in the last few weeks of the season. That's the only reason I haven't bet this game yet. But I make this Milwaukee -2 with Giannis out. Would be around Milwaukee -8 if Giannis is playing. So the current spread is kind of halfway between Giannis in and out, but I don't see them playing Giannis. They are kind of locked into this third seed right now. I wouldn't expect Milwaukee to catch up to Philly or Brooklyn, especially that they don't have an easy remaining schedule, especially now with this Giannis injury. Overall, this is a good matchup. These are the two best teams in defensive rebounding in the entire league. Um, Bulls have a really good perimeter defense, especially lately. They are allowing the seventh lowest field goal percentage through the season from downtown. If Giannis is out and the Bucks are forced to lean more on three-point shooting, I think this is not a bad matchup for the Bulls overall. Getting 4.5 points with such a rest advantage at home, I think that's a nice play. If you want to make sure that Giannis is out, I think you should wait for the first injury report. I would be really surprised if they make him play here. Utah Jazz at the Phoenix Suns, 4.5 point spread. Really interesting game, but sadly, this is not the way we wanted to see this matchup. Maybe we will see this in the playoffs. Mitchell and Conley are both out for the Jazz. It's a whole different team without them. Utah still ranks as first in defensive points per possession allowed since those guys went out. So they still allow the least points per 100 possessions, just 103 points, which is amazing, of course. But I mean, the offense isn't the same. Yes, they had this 150-point offensive outburst against the Kings, but I mean, this will be a way more difficult test. I make the line exactly 4.5 is the spread on the market. I would personally lean towards Phoenix. I think they really know how to game plan against teams that has such important injuries in the lineups. I'm not overlooking Utah, but the Suns are just one game back now. I think they are smelling blood and they are more healthy and the more complete team right now. And I'm not sure that if Booker gets it going, the Jazz will have an answer on the offensive end. So yeah, I would personally lean towards Phoenix or nothing here. At 4.5, I'm passing, but if he gets a slight discount like 3.5, 3.5 would likely bet the Suns here. Sacramento Kings at the LA Lakers. I'm not touching Lakers games until LeBron comes back. He is supposed to be they were targeting the 1st of May, so basically tomorrow. They play on Sunday again. We will see if James comes back by then, but he's out for this game for sure. Kings are without Fox and Harrison Barnes, two huge injuries. My line here is Lakers -7. So I actually show a pretty big edge on the Kings, but I mean, they have the 6th worst record in the league, 3-7 in the last 10. I mean, they are not bad enough to get to the lottery spots, to the real good lottery spots, but they are still playing terrible basketball. The Lakers are still a good defense. I just really cannot lay 9.5 points with no LeBron and AD not being at 100%. I think this line is a bit whack and we'll move towards the Kings here. All right, summing it up. So I have a lot of leans, but haven't made a play yet. I'm not really making too many NBA plays at this point in the season. I think the edges are here. First of all, with the Bulls, I think 4.5. Giannis likely out. Bucks playing their third game in 4 nights and the back-to-back. That's a lot. That's a lot of points to lay. My personal lean would be Phoenix, but I don't show an edge at 4.5. As I just told you, I think Kings getting 9.5 is just way too many points. And yeah, what was it? I had one more earlier. Yeah, Cleveland I think is getting too many points here, but I mean they lost 4 in a row, and this is not a bettable team for me at this point in the season. So yeah, I would really just look at the Bulls, the Suns if this gets down to like 3.5, and maybe if you have the balls to play the Kings at 9.5, that number is off. As for the Brooklyn game, just follow the injury news. I think you can still find value here. I mean, if both KD and Kyrie are out, I think there will be value on the Blazers. I don't think the line will move as much towards Portland as it should, and I'm really low on Portland, but I don't see a way Brooklyn wins this if they sit all 3 of their big names. All right, let's switch to baseball. We have another great card today. As you see, I mugged like 100 games. We will talk about all games. I have so many strong leans and a couple of plays. I think this will be a great Friday card. So, first game, Cardinals at the Pittsburgh Pirates, Gant at Brubaker. Brubaker is by far the best pitcher the Pirates have right now. His ERA is around 10. All the underlying metrics are really, really good. Almost a 60% ground ball rate. He doesn't walk anyone. Hard hit rate is low as well. He's super dominant against right-handers, 62% ground ball rate. The Cardinals are struggling against right-handed pitching. They just have an 83 WRC plus, 26% K rate. I'm not high on the Cardinals. I think if anyone, I think Brubaker can stop them. Hayes isn't back for this game for Pittsburgh, but he got cleared yesterday, and I think he should be back either by Sunday or early next week. But I will be starting to back Brubaker with Hayes back when they have a bit more firepower. I think this guy is super legit. Gant is bad. He has a 5+ Sierra, 1.5 whip. He is walking 15% of opposing batters faced. His velocity is down more than 3 miles per hour from last year. If this was anyone else than Pittsburgh, I would be fading him. The line is opened up as Cardinals minus 113 and this already Pittsburgh minus 110. So it was a pretty big move towards the Pirates. And I agree. If we see any kind of buyback, I will be on the Pirates. I'm buying everything Brubaker is selling, and Gant is really bad. It's difficult to bet teams like this, but I mean, I just have to lean towards Pittsburgh here. Mets at Philly, Stroman at Chase Anderson. Stroman minus 146. I make this minus 138. This opened up minus 137 and moved towards the Mets a bit. Stroman is still not at 100%. I still have some question marks around him, but the guy has a 60% ground ball rate, isn't walking anyone. All the underlying metrics look okay, and I'm still not sure about Philly. Bryce and Didi should be back for this game. Obviously, Bryce got hit in the face with the fastball 2 days ago. I think he will be back. Didi was out also last game. But I mean, those two guys moved the line a lot. So if they are out, I think there is still probably value going against Philly here. Chase Anderson is not a guy I'm buying. 5+ Sierra. He's walking more than 10%. His fastball velocity is down. Lefties are killing him badly. 7.5 FIP against left-handers. He's only averaging 4 innings per game started, and the bullpen behind him is super bad. So this is another game. It's Mets or bust for me. I don't care if there will be value on Philly. But if we see movement towards Philly with Bryce and Didi back in the lineup, I'm ready to buy the Mets and Stroman. Miami at Washington, Pablo Lopez at we don't know. This was supposed to be Joe Ross, as you can see on the picture, but Ross I think got pushed back to Friday. So it's either going to be John Lester making his season debut or a bullpen game. Lester is 37 years old, coming off the COVID IL. He was never really good. I mean, he was good like way back, but in the last few years, he's one of the pitchers I have been fading the most. He's not missing any bats. We don't know what type of shape he's in. He pitched a simulated game like I think 80 or 90 pitches a few days ago, but that really means nothing. I know Miami is bad offensively, but Pablo Lopez is a great arm. I like everything about Pablo. High ground ball rate, missing bats, high K rate, super legit ace type guy. If Lester is in, I think this should be close to a pick 'em. So if we get Miami at plus money, I will be interested. But obviously, we don't have confirmed pitchers on the national side, so that's something you should track later today. Yankee is laying minus 360, not going to get involved with that. Derek Skubal is bad. He's on a terrible season. Cole, one of the better pitchers in the league. Obviously, Yankees should roll. Cubs at the Reds. Arrieta at Miley. I think there is value here on the Reds. I'm not high on Cincinnati. They have been starting the season super hot. I think we will see offensive regression. But the Cubs aren't good, even if they are getting better offensively. They had a couple of nicer games overall. They still rate in the top, in the bottom 10 of the league. And Jake Arrieta, I know he had some nice outings, but he's not cutting it for me. His Sierra is 2 runs higher than his ERA. Walk rate at almost 10%. He has almost an 80% contact rate, only an 8.5% swinging strike rate, velocity down on the fastball, tons of hard contact against lefties, cannot strike righties out. So I have multiple issues with Arrieta, to be honest. And Miley, he isn't perfect. 10% swinging strike rate is not amazing, but has a 55% ground ball rate. Only gives up 18.5% hard contact. And against both sides, he is allowing a 240 WOBA or lower, or a 3.8 FIP or lower. So yeah, if I look at the two guys, Miley is giving up less hard contact, less fly balls. He has a higher ground ball rate, lower contact rate in general, lower walk rate. Basically, in all stats, I'm looking at Miley is better. And we've seen early action on the Cubs, and I don't agree with it. I think at the pick'em, you have to go with Cincy. Miley is the better pitcher. The Reds are the better team at this point. And while I agree that the Reds will regress down the line offensively and the Cubs should get better, I think this is still a mismatch on the pitching front. Houston at Tampa Bay, McCullers at Yarbrough. Not finding any value here. I make this Houston minus 110 right now. If this would come down again to 110, I will probably bet the Astros, just because I think they really match up well against lefties. They hold the 128 WRC plus with just an 18% K rate, and Yarbrough is a guy that can be made uncomfortable. He has been okay so far, but nothing really amazing. He's missing bats, low hard contact, high infield pop-up rate. He's not walking anyone. Overall, I would really like him, but I'm high on the Astros offense, and I think this isn't an easy matchup. McCullers on the other side, he had this issue around his COVID vaccine. He was scratched, and then he was kind of off. He only has 4 outings so far. Walk rate a bit high, but he's still missing bats, 54% ground ball rate, contact rate under 70%. I think he will be all right. This total was at 8. I would at 8 I would look at the under, but it's super juice now on BetCris and Bookmaker. You can find minus 125 on the under 8. I don't want that. But if this would be like minus 110-ish, minus 112, maybe, then I would probably bet the under. But it's difficult to trust Yarbrough against Houston. This will be his toughest outing, I think, so far. And I would be more happy to bet Houston as a very slight road favorite. We will see where this line moves. But I think it will stay around this minus 120 range we see now, which is perfectly realistic. Atlanta, Toronto, Drew Smyly, Robbie Ray. I'm leaning towards the Jays here. There is no line up, but I'm expecting this to open up around the pick'em. I've seen some soft books already dealing Jays minus 110. I will be backing Toronto at minus 110. I don't really fully trust both arms, but I think the matchup and the weather and everything is better for the Jays here. So Smyly is an extreme fly ball guy. He is some stuff I don't like about him. His velocity is down on his fastball about a tick. He gives up 42% hard contact so far and has a 58% fly ball rate. Also, he's reverse split so far, 9+ FIP against lefties. But the thing is, 58% fly ball rate. With this stadium so far where the Jays play, the home run rate is about 50% higher than all the other parks. We will have an 11 mile per hour wind blowing out that center, and we have a guy at almost a 60% fly ball rate against the Jays, who now have Springer and are generally expected to regress positively on the offensive end. So I'm liking the matchup for Toronto overall. Ray is coming off a super nice outing. In 6 innings, he struck out 9, only gave up 3 earned runs, which is great for him. But the lack of walks was the most important for me. He's walking guys and not having his control was his biggest issue. He's missing tons of bats, 13% swinging strike rate, not giving up too much hard contact. Braves, pretty low sample size, but they are struggling against lefties so far. Just a 42 WRC plus and a 31% K rate. They're swinging pretty hard if you just go by the eye test. I mean, I think Ray could have some success here. And as I said, I don't trust him. I mean, he had basically one good outing. And we are going by that. But Smiley's last 2 outings have been pretty bad, and I think this is a bad matchup. And while overall, long term, I'm liking the Braves, and I think this is one of the teams to buy this season. I think this is a terribly bad matchup for Smiley, so I will be looking to back Toronto at minus 110-ish once this game opens up. Boston at Texas, Eovaldi at Arihara, minus 166 is the pinnacle line. I think this is out of range right now. I've released Boston as an official pick a few hours ago. Price was way better. I don't exactly remember, but minus 150 something. I wouldn't touch it around minus 166. That's a lot. But this is a big mismatch. Eovaldi is really pitching like an ace right now. 3.3 Sierra, 14.5% swinging strike rate, ground ball rate at 54%. He's only giving up 23% hard contact, not walking anyone. I really like everything I see. Texas is one of the worst offenses in the league. Great pitching park. Arihara on the other end, not missing any bats, 84% contact rate, 44% hard hit rate, just a 6.9% swinging strike rate. His K rate is basically non-existent. Righties are hitting him 380 WOBA, 4.7 FIP, and he has one of the worst bullpens behind him, and he's only averaging 4.4 innings so far this season. So yeah, I think this is super chalky. But if you get like this 5 times line at minus 158, if you can get it right now, I think you should. Just look at Pinnacle almost at minus 170. That's the way this line will move. LA Dodgers at Milwaukee. Dustin May won't be pitching. He was crashed. This will be an official bullpen game for the Dodgers. They are facing Freddy Peralta. Peralta is a great arm, but he's super inconsistent. And he has issues with his pitch count. He couldn't even get out of the 4th inning against the Cubs. He had 7 Ks, but I mean he went just 4 innings, and this is not like a one-time thing. This has been his issue for years. His walk rate is at 14%, fly ball rate at 52%. He has amazing growth stuff, but he's too wide. You don't want to start him against the Dodgers. I think even with the bullpen game, LA should open up as a decided road favorite, like from 56 to 58%, something around minus 130. We will see. I'm not touching a bullpen game on either side, but I think Peralta is in for a tough test. Casey at Minnesota, Pineda at Singer. Pineda is coming off a terrible outing against Pittsburgh, just 20 innings against Pittsburgh. In 90 pitches, he gave up 4 earned runs and just 5 Ks, and this is against the worst offense in the league. But, I mean, if you look at the big picture, all of his outings were amazing so far. He has a 3.5 Sierra, not walking anyone, swinging strike rate pretty good. I think this is a rebound spot, but I mean, Casey is still a pretty big step up from Pittsburgh, but I think he had like 5-6 days to get it together. I think he will figure it out. Singer is a guy I'm liking. He's coming off a great start against Detroit. I think so far he didn't really have like any bad starts. His velocity is up on the fastball, just 26% hard contact rate, 54% ground ball rate, K rate super high. This is a good park for pitching. I think the only angle you should look at here is the under. I haven't played it yet. 2 reasons. One is Pineda struggles in the last outing. His slider was really off, and yeah, he couldn't get out of the fourth. One is that this is by far the most difficult game for Singer yet. So yeah, I'm not sure I'm trusting Singer against Minnesota, and I'm not sure Pineda's stuff will be back. But from a side perspective, this line is perfect in my opinion, and we've seen early money on Minnesota. I agree with it. This opened up as Minnesota minus 131. I would have played Minnesota there. No value at minus 140, but this is an underlook in my opinion. Bieber at Keuchel, Cleveland at the White Sox. Two great arms. Bieber, one of the best arms in the league, no doubt about that. Keuchel, a guy who is consistently outpitching his secondary run indicators. He has a 55% ground ball rate, only gives up 28% hard contact, basically no fly balls, and has a 17% infield pop-up rate. He's really difficult to blow up. You can see the total is 6.5 on Pinnacle, so they are not expecting too many runs. Only side I would look at here is the White Sox as home dogs, but it's really difficult to bet against Bieber. I make it minus 127. That's basically the Pinnacle line. I would lean towards the White Sox, but I would need plus 130 to bet them, and we won't get that line. So, yeah, it's a pass from me. Total is way too low to get involved with that. Colorado at Arizona, John Gray, Madison Bumgarner. The total is the important factor here. It's 8.5, and it shouldn't be 8.5. The Rockies are one of the worst offenses in the league. This is a good park for pitching. On the other end, Arizona is, while slightly below league average offensively, they are without Calhoun, Marte, and Walker. So they are missing a huge part of their core. And both of these arms are coming off great starts. Madison Bumgarner, 7 innings, almost 100 pitches, and he had 7 Ks against Arizona. John Gray pitched against Philly, 91 pitches, 6 Ks, only 2 earned. Obviously, both of those offenses, they faced way more difficult tests than this. I think in this good pitching park, Gray will roll. Arizona only has an 86 WRC plus against righties. They are striking out like crazy. Rockies 308 xWOBA as a team. Gray with the 55% ground ball rate, only 30% hard hit rate, completely shuts down the right side of the plate. Righties with a 180 WOBA against him, and he holds a 2.3 FIP against the right side of the plate, 57% ground ball against the side. And I mean, Baumgartner, 12% swinging strike rate. His velocity last year was 88 miles per hour on the fastball. Now he's throwing 91 miles per hour, missing bats. I mean, if you remember back in the days before his Dune buggy accident, he was really a good arm, and I'm not sure that will come back, but he's looking better than any time since he came back, and this is a really easy opponent to face in a pitching park. Both arms, I think, look coming in confident of nice outings. 8.5, I think that's a whack line. We did bet this at 8.5 plus 102 or 103, so 8.5 under was plus money. Now it's juiced towards the under, but I think it's still worth a stab. Baltimore at Oakland, means Fires. Mike Fires making his Oakland debut. This is a guy I didn't really like in any of the past seasons. He's like your typical 4.5 to 5 ERA guy. Nothing special, just the he is your last starter basically, and you plug him in and pray. Baltimore easy matchup, but we don't know how Fires looks, and I'm not betting him blindly here. Means should be all right. He is a great arm. I'm really enjoying watching him pitch. But he is starting back-to-back games against Oakland, which is a really difficult spot. And I'm favoring the offenses in these cases almost always. And he's also lefty. Oakland is hitting lefties generally well for years now. But as I said, I like Means, high K rate, swinging strike rate there, not giving up too much hard contact, misses tons of bats. Orioles offense is just weak. You cannot really back them, I think, as road dogs. This was supposed to be Luzardo. I would make Luzardo around minus 150. Now we get a minus 131 with Fias. I think that's kind of a fair downgrade, but there is no value on the dog. San Diego Padres is almost laying minus 100 with Darvish. No value there. Padres should roll. And final game, LA Angels at Seattle. Heaney minus 150. That's another game I'm passing on. Flexen is coming off a great outing, the Seattle pitcher against Boston, but through the season he has an 83% contact rate, only 8.5% swinging strike rate. I wouldn't start him against a healthy Angels squad. And Heaney coming off a great start. He had a 10 strikeout game facing a super weak Mariners team. I think he will be all right. He has a 2.7 Sierra so far, 14% swinging strike rate, good ground ball rate, hard contact rate, everything is looking really good in his profile. But I mean, they are laying minus 150 on the road, so it kind of should. All right, let's sum up the baseball slate. A lot to talk about. So Pittsburgh, I think Brubaker will roll here. Minus 110 is fair, but if this moves towards the Cardinals, they open as road favorites. If we get like plus 100, I will be betting Pittsburgh for sure. Mets Philly is Mets or nothing for me. There is no value here, but if we get Bryce and Didi back in the lineup for Philly, we could see some line move against the Mets, and then I will be backing the Mets here. I would need at least like a minus 138-ish to get involved. I think this 5 dimes line is kind of value right now. We don't have a pitcher in the Miami-Washington game on the Washington side. I expect it to be John Lester. If it is John Lester, I'm backing Miami at minus 110 or better. Cincinnati as a pick'em at home with Miley against Arrieta is a bet for me. Miley is the better starter. Cincinnati is still the better team, although I'm expecting regression from them. Houston, Tampa Bay, looking to get minus 110 with Houston. Not sure we will get that. I'm liking Toronto at minus 110 with Robbie Ray on the mound at home. If you get worse than minus 110, don't play it. I think that's kind of my cutoff. If you find Boston at Texas at the better line than minus 160, I think that's a nice look. And I like the under in Arizona at 8.5, even at minus 110. That's a plus EV bet in my opinion. All right, thanks for tuning in. Pretty big cards, but we got through them in like 37 minutes. Enjoy your weekend. I will be back on Monday. Look out on Twitter. I will be recapping April. It should be a pretty decent month as far as official bets are concerned, and we are rolling on to May. And I see you guys on Monday, and thanks for tuning in.